All right, fellas, here we are back in our Pokemon Scarlet and Violet video. We have ourselves the final Treasure of Ruin in terms of raids. Yes, I'll do a Tinglu video, no worries. I'll get that out hopefully the same day. Yeah, we got the Chian-Pao and we got the Wo-Chien here, but it is time for us to take on Chi-Yu. All right, so this little fella is in its raid. It's got one of the best shinies, potentially the best shiny of the trio of Ruin. Heatwave, Dark Pulse, Snarl, and Flamethrower. Pretty offensive move set here. Ruination, of course, as we expect. A lot of HP, shield damage stuff. Yeah, okay, whatever. It doesn't really matter too much. Let's take a look at this stuff. 93% HP, it'll do shield activation, or 93% time remaining. So it does very early shield, which in my opinion, I like early shield because it means that we can get through its shield faster earlier on in the fight, and then we can worry about stuff later. Ruination at 99% HP remaining. It was start of battle, basically. 85% reduced Terra Orb charge. Interest, so you can Terra, so you have to Terra later, or will likely Terra later. Okay, that could be very bad. 75% reset stats, that's fine. Ruination at 50% HP again. Reset stats again at 55% HP, and 40% resets its own stats. So it doesn't reset its own stats for a while, so debuffing could be potentially very effective against this guy. More effective than most cases, I would imagine anyway. But this seems like it's going to be a very, very effective fight for like Azumarill, or if we go back to what I was doing against Tinglu, Gyarados. Gyarados could potentially be very effective against Chi-Yu, especially given that Chi-Yu is very lackluster in bulk. So, you know, those, again, Azumarill and, you know, these high-powered attackers can be really good. Also, Ogerpon Wellspring could be extremely good here. So, or, you know, it's rock form, Cornerstone, I think. We can take a look at that potentially and see how that is Pokepocket. I'm in the League Battle Room. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get out of the League Battle Room, and then we are going to go ahead and load up the Poke Portal, grab the new information, grab the news, whatever, and go see what we can, see if we can pull up the Chi-Yu raids. So let's go ahead, mystery gift, check Poke Portal news. Should have to connect to some internet here. All right, take your time. Now saving. You're connected to the internet. There we go. I received the latest updates. Okay. So now we should have our Chi-Yu raids hanging out around. Let's go ahead and see. Well, I guess it would just be only one raid at a time, realistically. Likely in Paldea, or, well, this is Kitakami. Likely in Paldea. Let's go ahead and see. It should be Terra Fire. Where are we at? It should have that, like, nice glow around it. That's a fire raid, but that is not the Terra Fire raid that we were looking for, especially being a 5-star raid. Does not have the glow around it. I probably skipped over it by now, especially given that I can't. Yeah, okay, it's right here. So I completely skipped over it. I believe that is it, which is ironic. It is next to the Ice Ren Shrine, which I believe is Chien-Pao's Shrine, so pretty funny. But let's go ahead, hop over here. I think the best thing for us to bring is going to be Rain Dance. Again, weather effects tend to be the most effective way to counter or add some damage to these fights. So I get like the same setup I had for Tinglu. I'm probably going to go for the like Waterfall, Aqua Tail, Rain Dance setup on Gyarados. If Gyarados fails out, we might end up swapping our Terra type to Water with Azumarill and using it because Belly Drum, obviously very effective. You know, Chi-Yu can remove our stat changes at 75% HP and 55% HP, but that is plenty of time for us to be able to do a lot of damage. All right, here is the Chi-Yu raid. Let's go ahead and hop in here, see what we're potentially dealing with. Okay, so I'm going to use Gyarados. It's fully maximized in Hyper Training. It's got itself the Shell Bell. Let's see what it can do. I'm very, very curious here. Got the music in the background. This is probably going to be pretty loud of a Terra raid match. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and lower that down a little bit and lower it down for myself. All right, Shiny Chi. Let's see what we got. So it's going to open up with Ruination, and then 93% HP / time remaining. It will activate its shield. So our biggest priority is going to be trying to Terrasilize as fast as possible so we can potentially hit it maybe before the reduced Terra Orb charge hits. We may get lucky. We probably will not, but that's okay. So we have double Intimidate on it, triple Intimidate. Wow. Triple Intimidate, even though it doesn't matter. It does weaken our special defense as well. And it hits, of course, it hits Gyarados with the Ruination. This is the worst start, probably, is when these Treasures of Ruin hit your own Pokemon. But honestly, I mean, that's enough. That's a lot of damage. Yeah, that heals up a decent bit. Do keep in mind, having Snarl is not really going to affect Gyarados here too much. Neither are the Heat Waves and Flamethrowers. Dark Pulse is the biggest amount of damage to do against Chi-Yu. So yeah. It already went ahead and threw up its shield. We've got to just try and damage it as fast and effectively as possible so we can get Gyarados' Terrasilization up here. and so we don't have to worry about that reduced Terra Orb charge. Though it is very likely I'm going to have to reset just because half HP at the start on Gyarados is very annoying, and well, that's just the best time to restart. You know, start of battle, you know, you get hit with it, just go ahead and restart. Also, random burns. Random burns could be very bad for this, and it did steal our Terra Orb charge, so we still got 2 more actions until we can actually Terrastallize. So it looks like our ability to heal is going to be extremely limited here, at least for the first few turns. It looks like we're probably going to be taking more damage than we can kind of chip off, so we might end up just having to reset here so that we can actually, you know, Terrastallize earlier, or well, have more HP when we actually do end up Terrastalizing. It would have been smarter to go for Waterfall here, but that's fine. Chi-Yu did what? That's kind of funny. Okay. That would have been at 80 reduced Terra, I guess 75% time remaining. It would have reset our stats. That's beneficial to us, but that's okay, I guess. All right, there we are. Gyarados is down to 71 HP. I'm going to go ahead and Terrastallize and use Rain Dance. Likely Gyarados is going to go down here, and if I just need 1 turn to set up Rain Dance so I can do as much damage as possible. I know it would be smarter to go for Aqua Tail or Waterfall to try and sustain for as long as possible, but I'm trying to maintain high damage output here, especially given, you know, the low HP. I'm going to need to try and recover as much as possible, as quick as possible. If this fails out, we'll just have to reset. That's no big deal. I think that tends to happen when you get bad luck in these fights. All right, I'm going to get hit with the Flamethrower. Does it KO? It does not KO. Again, we got very lucky, but the burn, no burn. Okay, let's go ahead and go for an Aqua Tail here. Hope that we land it. Good, we did land it. This should do plenty of damage here. We're down to about 60% HP left with Chi-Yu. 50% HP, it will use another Ruination, which honestly would not be a big deal to us given our current situation. Goes for a Dark Pulse. That is the worst possible move for it to go for. Goes for Ruination. Thankfully, it goes for it on an enemy that is not us. So let's go ahead and go for an Aqua Tail here. Hope that we can get as much damage in as possible. We are going to break its shield here as well. So we're down to about... And by the way, with using Ruination there, that confirms it is at 50% time remaining. It did do a stat reset at 55% HP, and at 40% HP, it will reset its own stats. Yeah, there you go. We got that reset on our own stats. And it's soon going to be resetting its own stats as well, which is okay. Goes for Heat Wave. We do get hit by that. Doesn't do too much damage. Again, the most lethal thing you can have here on these physical attackers like Azumarill or Gyarados, I believe, isn't Ogerpon also physical attacker? I might be wrong. I really don't remember. Is that burn. That burn could be very detrimental to your damage in this fight, so do keep that in mind. Make sure Rain stays up. Potentially, I can't say I would recommend bringing an item to, you know, remedy burn and stuff like that, because you do want that Shell Bell healing, but... You know, there are going to be strategies. Obviously, Ogerpon's going to be a better Pokemon to use. Azumarill is very likely going to be a better Pokemon to use, especially if it is Terra Water. But it looks like we are not going to be struggling too much here for this Chi-Yu fight. We should be good here just by using a regular Gyarados. Again, it is definitely beneficial to have someone like Ogerpon, Gyarados, or Azumarill to do this fight. At least mostly just any water type. Any water type or rock type. Honestly, a rock type in Sandstorm could be very effective for this fight as well, given that rock types get a special defense boost while under sand. So like Tyranitar, for example, could be a good one, especially because it can buff its offensive stats with Dragon Dance. I don't think it can use Swords Dance, but that's fine. So yeah, that Pokemon could be very effective as well, and it's pretty bulky against Chi-Yu's attacks. So, you know, something like Tyranitar could, again, be very, very effective. So there we go. We got the raid beat. Got a bunch of large candies, some extra large candies, some Fire Terra Shards, a bunch of Fire Terra Shards, actually. It's like 80 right there. Nope. Well, that's 90, I think. Okay, sure. And then also you got a Salty Herba Mystica. I don't ever use Herba Mystica, but still, I mean, sure, I guess. That actually went a lot smoother than I kind of figured it would. I'm not going to pop up another battle. I could probably do some, like, spoofing, but, like, manipulation of the time to try and do another Chi-Yu battle, but I'm not really going to. It's not really too big of a deal. I recommend people, you know, do your Chi-Yu raids. If you're not going to, I mean, we easily hit the 1,000,000, and we're going to keep hitting the 1,000,000. I mean, there's no way people are going to stop in the final stretch and not hit 1,000,000 for probably the best of the 4 shinies. But... you know, do your one raid, at least get the satisfaction of having beat it, and also the extra rewards for it, even if you don't really play Scarlet Violet too much nowadays. You know, it's a fun time. At least in my opinion, it can be a fun time. So let's give me the Gimme Ghoul. Can I have the Gimme Ghoul? Please, no, with the Gimme Ghoul, brother. That is sad. That is just sad. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, we're not getting that Gimme Ghoul then. That's fine. I don't know why I care so much. I don't really need a Golden Go or anything. I've got all my Pokedexes completed. I can do a shiny show off, you know. I've actually thought about, let me know if y'all are interested in like videos where I just like use my shiny Pokemon, like the Meloetta and Enamorus I get for completing the Dexes for Legends Arceus and Scarlet and Violet plus its DLC. I still do need to also complete the Pokedexes for Sword and Shield and Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee and all of that as well. That would be within my best interest to get those shinies too. And Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, though I'm stuck with Regis right now. Anyway, that's a bit of a tangent. That was the full Chi-Yu raids, and again, nothing too crazy with these. If we wanted to go back and take a look at its abilities here, you can see, you know, this is everything. You got to be watching out for those ruinations. I heavily recommend resetting if you get hit with the ruination start of the fight. It's a pretty much a 1 in a 4 chance, I believe. You can avoid them pretty well. The second ruination is not nearly as big of a deal, given that if you are already lower on HP, it's going to do significantly less damage to you, given that it can't KO you, and you're at that point where it's likely lost its shield, you're likely built up, you have your rain, you have your sand, whatever, so you'll be able to do a lot of damage to it and be able to heal up a lot of damage with the Shell Bell. I don't think the second ruination is that big of a deal. These stat resets, again, this is why weather effects are so much better instead of trying to rely upon debuffs or buffs or whatever. I do think with something like Fake Tears or Helping Hand, if you want to go in co-op and stuff like that, you know, those can be good despite these stat reset abilities, because especially the Chi-Yu one. So if you like actually try and debuff Chi-Yu, again, something like Fake Tears or Leer or something, whatever it is to debuff defense, Screech would be the better one. You know, if you go for those, it's honestly a little bit more effective, given that it only resets its stats at 40% HP. That gives you plenty of time to build up and do a ton of damage extremely quickly with like those, you know, heavy hitting physical attackers like Gyarados or Tyranitar or whatever other rock water types typically is what you're going to use. So those are the best ways to counter the Chi-Yu raid. Do watch out for these moves. Do not bring anything that's too weak to it. So again, those water and dark types will be fine. Rock types, sorry, water and rock types, yeah, rock types would be the best given the buff and sand for their special defense, so all of these special attacks will not be doing a lot of damage. And of course, water has the rain for its buffing ability, and just has generally very strong options like Gyarados, Ogerpon, and Azumarill. So yeah, that is the Chi-Yu raids. Let me know what you all think about it in the comments below. We will do a video over Shiny Chi-Yu once it actually comes out, and I will go ahead and also record that video for Tinglu. You all will probably get the videos like roughly same time. But anyway, yeah, that's all I've got to say. I'll see you later. I hope you all enjoyed. Peace.